these emotions are too much and I need to figure them out. I need to, but
Yeah.
I couldn't. Like I felt so stuck. I even took that to the Lord, bringing, like how I started this whole episode, like bringing that feeling, that disappointment to the Lord.
Okay.
He's not afraid of my disappointments
Mm.
because I know, well, He knows He can't disappoint me, actually.
Marilyn, say that. Marilyn, say that for the people in the back. Welcome back, everyone, to Kept. I'm your host, Tierra Lebbie, and Kept exists to help women navigate very difficult seasons with God. I am so excited to see you back, and I am not. I see y'all that just subscribed lately on the podcasting platforms and YouTube. Welcome. I pray that this content will continue to be a blessing to you on your walk with God, and I'm just so grateful that you're here. And I'm so excited for this episode. I have a good friend here with me today. Her name is Marilyn Brown. She is the owner of Joyful Tots Resources, and I am so excited to jump into our conversation.
I'm
Welcome,
so
welcome to
excited.
Cap, Marilyn.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. So we had a very so this morning I was thinking about how did me and Marilyn meet? And I'm so glad that we talked about it this morning because I'm
Yes.
like, I skipped a whole step. I skipped a whole step. So we have a mutual friend
Hmm.
that introduced us, and you can jump in where I'm leaving it, where I got gaps at.
Okay.
Okay, so we got a mutual friend that introduced us. She started following me, I followed back, and then we met up for coffee.
Yes. Yes. That's basically it.
That's basically
Yeah.
it. But then we got the opportunity to serve together at Jackie Hill Perry's conference Glory
Hmm.
a couple years back. We were on the prayer team. And so yeah, it's been a few
That was
years
awesome.
since I've been able to see you, but girl, I'm so glad you're here.
But I feel like I see you every day.
I and y'all, we were just talking about how social media can be so deceiving because I see her all the
Yep.
time. But then I didn't realize until I literally saw her today that I'm like, wait, I
We
actually haven't seen you in
It's
a
been
couple
years.
years.
Yeah. It has been years.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you for your yes.
Yes, of
And I'm
course.
excited to jump into this verse and
Okay.
just see where God leads us in this conversation. You
Very
ready?
excited. I'm ready.
All right, y'all. So for my new viewers, what we do when we have a special guest is we start off with a psalm. And then this psalm will be our conversation starter. And guys, this is just Holy Spirit led. Wherever God leads us in our conversation is where we're going to go. And I pray that it just be a blessing to you wherever we end up leading, okay? All right, so do you want to read your verse?
Sure.
All right.
All right. So we have Psalm 62, verses 7 and 8. On God rests my salvation and my glory. My mighty rock, my refuge is God. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so when you got this, where did it take you?
Good grief.
I know.
Where did it not take me? um I think just like most recently I had hurt my back
Okay.
2 Decembers ago.
Okay.
And like I wish I had some cool story like, oh, I was rock climbing or I was, like I was on some hike and doing some adventurous stuff. No, I was in my kitchen making hot chocolate for my kids.
Oh
It
gosh.
was December. I feel like I dropped one little piece of the packet and I
Okay.
just went to pick it up and then my back got hurt. Like that was it.
Oh
It was
man.
nothing glamorous. It was one of the most like I wasn't even picking up anything heavy, which is just it feels so embarrassing.
No, girl. I'm pretty sure our viewers have other stories as well.
Yeah, and so like it was just a pinch,
Hmm.
which that's happened before, and I realize now it was that our mattress was just too soft. It doesn't give enough support.
Okay.
And so I think it had just been building up, but I went to rest on that mattress that day
Mm.
instead of on the flat floor or something. So then the other side of my back started overcompensating. And when I woke up the next morning to try to get up out of bed, I basically fell on the floor in pain
Okay.
because the other side of my back was spasming so badly
Hmm.
from trying to overcompensate for the pinched side
Okay.
that that muscle basically tore. It was so
Okay.
bad. It was
Okay.
debilitating, and that took me out for weeks. Like I was room mom. I couldn't do
I was about to
anything.
say with three boys.
Yep. I couldn't stand in my kitchen to cook dinner. I couldn't drive them to school. I couldn't do anything. So it was like I had to send out the all call to, like, everyone in my
Okay.
community to help. I mean, obviously, James, my husband, was
Mhm.
very he stepped up in a huge way, and all my boys are older, so they
Okay.
all stepped up as well, which then it was kind of like, um, why don't they do more?
Like, when I'm not hurt,
If
why
they
did it
can
take
do all
this?
this when I'm hurt, why are they not doing all this? But yeah, it was the way that the Lord sustained me through that time. It was really difficult, just that healing process and
Okay.
trusting Him and really believing that He was still good
Okay.
was so hard,
What
being in pain. So,
what about that time period do you feel like you got attacked most? Because obviously you move a lot, you're doing a lot, and then
mhm,
all of a sudden you can't. Like,
right.
what did that attack most?
Well, to begin with, like, I feel like I'm a fairly fit person.
Hmm.
Like, I was working out regularly, so that just attacked like my ego
Okay.
first and
Okay.
foremost. Like, I thought I was physically healthy. Like,
Okay.
why would this hurt me when I literally was doing almost nothing?
Okay.
And then now I'm stuck on the floor and I can't move at all and I have to recover. So, like, I feel like it for sure attacked my ego. And then deeper, really my identity.
Okay.
Like, who am I if I can't help my kids at school? Who am I if I can't make dinner for my family? Like,
Hmm.
and like, am I still myself if I can't do these things? And I didn't realize that, like, I had put performance on this pedestal.
Okay.
Like, I know I had done that with school and things with like my parents and wanting their attention when I was young, but I God worked through all of that with me, and I didn't realize I had done that again. Like, I had set that up
Mm.
as an idol, basically, and it got knocked over, and I was not okay.
And
I
what was your what if you can recall, like, to our viewers that are watching, they're like, okay, yes, similar experience.
Mhm,
I'm actually in a season where I used to perform highly at, I
mhm,
no longer perform there. And
right,
now my identity is shaken.
mhm.
Where would you where would you go? What would be the first step that you would tell them to go to that you went to during that time? So you're in bed, now what?
I mean, it was really just feeling like when I was kind of, like, mentally at my worst, I would say I feel like I'm a cockroach on the floor.
Mm,
And, like, what's lower than that?
yeah.
What's grosser than that? And I felt just bad about myself and not really being able to do anything. And, people are stepping around me to
Mhm.
get around my bedroom. Um, but where I went with that was like, I even took that to the Lord.
Okay.
So just like taking everything to Him and knowing He can handle me at my lowest
Okay.
and knowing He can handle me when I'm angry at Him.
Mhm.
He can handle me when I'm sad. He can handle me when I feel lonely,
Mhm.
like all of it. So, like,
Mhm.
knowing I can take all of my emotion to Him unfiltered
Yep.
and He can handle it. It's not too much for Him. It's too much for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too much for me to
Mhm.
handle that all myself. But the Lord is so much bigger and
Mm.
He can take it,
No,
you know?
I love that because there is just this lie that's going around, and it's not even just outside the church, it's within the church.
Hmm.
It's that when we encounter something that was unexpected, something that rocked this false identity that we had that we didn't even know we had,
Right.
right? That we can't grieve or we can't mourn exactly
Hmm.
what just happened, but also like, this is hard.
Yeah.
This is hard. I'm actually frustrated. I'm actually upset about what this is bringing, not also out of me, but what situations have arise
Hmm.
to cause me being aware of this
Right.
and not having to rush past the emotion of, heck,
Hmm.
I'm stuck in bed.
Yep.
Heck, I'm not able to show up how I used to show up.
Right.
And knowing that God, He walks us through these times. Like,
Hmm.
he doesn't leave us where we started, but He does say start. Don't
Yep.
despise small beginnings. Start
Yeah.
with where you're at.
Hmm.
And that He is gracious and powerful enough to handle my emotions. Like you said,
Yes.
there are instances where we may have somebody's listening, they're like, okay, yeah, I did that, but I went to the church or I went to people. And instead of praying for me, they gossiped about it,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
They have a wound when it comes to being
Yeah,
authentic and genuine about how they
right.
felt. But the truth is, our Father already knows one.
Yep.
He already knows. And he loves us so much that the intimacy that's cultivated with just being authentic with him is
Mhm.
more for us than it is for him.
100%. 100%. And I feel like because I've always worn my heart on my sleeve. Like
Mhm.
I'm an emotional person. It's difficult for me to rein that in. Like I just remember being little and my older brother, who was more stoic, would be like, Marilyn, calm down. Like, Marilyn, you're too loud. Marilyn, stop crying.
Mm.
So that was kind of this constant undercurrent of like, my emotions are too much.
Mm.
I'm feeling too much. And so I think that was a big encouragement knowing God is a safe place. Like he is a refuge for my emotions.
Mhm.
Like it's that was my spiritual attack, I feel like, was these emotions are too much and I need to figure them out. I need to, but
Yeah.
I couldn't. Like I felt so stuck. And he was like, I'm right here. I'm with you in it.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
his refuge was surrounding me in the
And
midst of it
that part.
because I wasn't he didn't pluck me out of it right away.
Yeah.
It was a process of healing. It was a process of forced rest
Mhm.
that I didn't want. I did
Mhm.
not want it. Like
It's like, no, I didn't
I
sign up for
I'm
this.
tired of laying on the floor. I'm tired of,
Mhm.
I'm laying there. I'm like, good night, James. He's up in the bed. It was weird. And I was just like, what is my life right now? And in addition to that, having to ask for help for
Okay.
the smallest of things.
Mm.
So again, my ego, I think,
Yeah, I was about to say that's another thing.
that is so difficult for me. And I don't know if it's just a thing as women, as moms. I don't
Mhm.
know. Like, because we're often the ones that help.
Yep.
We're the
Yep.
ones people come to for help. Mom, help me with this. Mom, I don't understand. Mom, I need you to do this for me.
Mhm.
And now I'm calling my kids. Can you get me some
Role
water?
reverse.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is humbling. It for everything. Like literally every single thing I needed to ask for help.
So did you have any idea of like how long it would last, or was it just like I literally have to take this day by day?
It was day by day for sure. And cuz yeah, I went to well, I did like a teledoc urgent care. And then I went to the doctor and they were like, "No, we don't need x-rays. I think it's muscular." So then I went to a chiropractor and they do like muscle reconditioning. So it's basically like a very targeted kind of massage that just calms that spasm and helps it heal faster. But even that was a process. And so
Mhm.
it was just like you just take it day by day and figure out, okay, well, I can sit for 10 minutes instead of 5. That's an improvement.
Mhm. Mhm.
But now I need to go lay flat again.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
was really just listening to what I actually needed. And then that's a whole thing because
Okay. Okay.
that's where the Lord was like, okay, so here's how this applies spiritually,
Okay.
emotionally. Do you know what you need?
Do you know what you need?
And I was like, okay, like that, just being confronted and convicted by that question. Like, do I know my emotional needs? Do I know my spiritual needs? And am I willing to ask for those needs to be met?
Man, Marilyn, that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing right there. Like to say, do you know what you need? Because in order for you to know what you need, you have to be so connected with self and God.
Yes.
And I know when I was going through myself in my marriage, that was the main thing that was targeted. It was
Mm,
I was so disconnected from myself emotionally.
yep.
So when people would say, "Hey, Tier, how you doing?" I'm good,
Hmm.
but I was not good. But
Right.
then I was so also disconnected because I was suppressing so
Yep.
much and resisting so much that I didn't know how I was doing. I didn't know what
Right.
I would was needing.
Yep.
So how did you process that? Like to figure out what were your spiritual and emotional needs in the time where you still in the middle of the chaos of it all.
Right. I mean, really, it was a lot of prayer and having safe people
Okay.
to process that with. So thankfully, James and I have been going to a couples counselor for almost 2 years now.
Okay.
And that has been, I mean, the Lord knew.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord knew back when we started, for whatever other reason,
Mm-hmm.
that I would need that consistency and support, and to go to counseling with my husband so that he could hear me process things
Mm-hmm.
and I could hear him process things and we could support each other.
Mm-hmm.
So having that safe place. So not just counseling, but also my husband, obviously, but then friends that I know would understand and not just like,
Yep.
send platitudes my way. Oh, the Lord will work all things for
Yeah.
good. Like, yes, he will. But like, how does that help me right now when I'm
Today.
crawling to the bathroom? Like,
Yeah.
this is uncomfortable and embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one here witnessing it but me. But I'm tired
But
of it.
that's enough.
I don't want to be like this. I don't want to have to go through this anymore. But yeah, just knowing people that have had chronic illness, or so I feel like that's why this podcast is so important, because it's showing women in the church, we've gone through this too.
Yep.
You're not alone. Somebody understands you. And to find your people and find that safety to say, I feel low today
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if I can go to God with this.
I
And
completely agree.
yeah, and just to have grace for that, like to have sisters in Christ that have grace for that and know they will lift me up.
Mm-hmm.
Like Moses with his arms outstretched when Joshua was fighting the battle with the Israelites,
Mm-hmm.
and his arms got tired because he's human.
Yep.
But that was the only way that they were going to prevail. So then here come Aaron and her holding up his arms. And so these are my friends. Like, if you can't put yourself before the Lord, we will.
Wow.
So,
And that is like one of the pillars of this podcast. It is the fact that community is not a luxury, it's a necessity.
100%.
And that
Yeah.
the moment that we choose to succumb to isolation, we have invited further chaos
Yes.
because we were not and have not been designed to do this in isolation. And we're designed by God to do it in community
Yep.
and in fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
And like even what you're talking about, again, a key part of it was God used his hands and feet, his body,
Yes.
to minister to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I can even hear some women right now saying, "Oh, that's good for Marilyn." But I don't have
Mm-hmm.
people to help me to hold up my arms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a husband who can
Mm-hmm.
speak truth and understand, like, I'm having a very difficult time and empathize. What would you say to her?
I mean, I guess I would say there are. There are women. I mean, that's what this is for. Like, this is the community that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
That if there's not someone, like if people in your local church, or maybe you don't feel safe going to church right now, and or people there aren't safe, then you have to fight for it. You have to find someone.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that means reaching out, even if that means and that's the hard part, because do you know what you need?
Do you know, starting with that?
It comes back to that. Yeah, like, what if I know I need community, am I willing to fight for that? Am I willing to just reach out to someone, or find a counselor
Yep.
that's going to pray for me and point me to Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and give me good counsel,
Both.
and be a safe place that's not, I know they're not going to gossip about me. I know they're not going to,
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, because it's a temptation. I think it's a lie of the enemy. It's a trick.
Mhm.
He wants to convince us that there is no such thing as healthy community within the church, right?
Yep.
But we know that a part of our inheritance that God talks about in Ephesians 1 and Ephesians 2 about it,
Mhm.
about us being adopted into his family.
Yep.
Like being adopted into God's family, a part of that inheritance is that we got sisters.
Yes.
That's a part of the
Right.
deal,
Right.
right? A part of the deal of submitting your life to Christ, being adopted into God's family, is that you have a spiritual family.
Mhm.
And the beautiful thing about it is that to the woman that's like, I don't have access to that, pray to the God of the laborers.
Mm.
Pray to the
Mhm.
God who holds the heart of kings in his hand.
Yes.
Pray to the God who orchestrates the whole body of the church, whose son is the head of the church.
Amen. Yes.
And that in itself, we don't we have access, even if it's not to a tangible person right
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
We have access to God of the
That's
universe,
right.
who literally orchestrates all of his children's lives,
Yep.
especially those who have submitted their will to him. Because if he wants for you to connect and they're surrendered to him, he can use them however
Right.
he wants.
Right.
And so even for those women that are like, again, Tier sounds good, because I've heard that before. Like
Mhm.
you got a best friend that loves Jesus. I don't have that.
Right.
You have God. God has everything that
Yes.
we need.
Mhm.
And he said that he has given us everything we need to live a life of godliness. That includes community.
Yes.
Our
Exactly.
responsibility, exactly to like what you just said, is to respond when the opportunity presents itself.
Mhm.
For me personally, this is the area I struggle with. I'm very introvert. Like until you get to know me, then you're like, girl, introvert what? But meeting me like face to face, you're probably like, hey, does she even like people? Like I really do. I promise I do. But it was hard for me to even be honest with the people that he did have in my
Mhm.
community at that time. And so I'm learning and I'm still learning. Like people need people. Period. Like whether you're in Christ or outside of
Yep.
Christ, just the way that a God given limitation is that we're needy
Yep.
and we need human interaction and we
Mhm.
need community. And he knew that.
Right.
And so he is not going to withhold. It's not like him putting you in a corner and say, you're one of my children. I'm going to put all my other children in a corner and they're not going to talk to you.
Right.
And none of them are going to be healthy enough to be able to be of any assistance to you. Like, no, that's not his heart
Right.
for us.
No.
Now, for some of us, it may take more time,
Mhm.
like you said, more effort, right?
Mhm.
But it is possible and your people are there. So, if
Right.
anything, I'm like, ladies, ask God to send your people.
Mhm.
If you don't have your people, ask him to send them. Trust that he will do it. Because he says he can do like exceedingly and
Mm.
abundantly above all that we can think or even ask for, right? And so that includes connection, intimacy, having your Titus 2, having that person that you can be like Marilyn was saying, look, that sounds good, but look, I'm on the floor right now.
Mhm.
You have to come with something more tangible, right? And you want those people that have an intimate relationship with God to that degree where they can meet you in that place and
Yep.
be like, let me help. Marilyn, come
Mhm.
on, girl.
Yes. Yes. And I'm like, there's so many things that I want to say. Like, well, because the isolation piece, like when God created everything. So I just posted a video about God's creation. And now I'm thinking back and I'm like, oh, I wish I had included this. The only thing God said wasn't good was that man was alone.
There you go. There you go.
Everything in creation was perfect. It was not good that man should be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And he made community.
Yep.
That's part of his design when everything was perfect.
Yep.
So that's part of his design for us when we're healing. That's part of his design for us when we're in pain.
There you
That's
go.
part of his design for us when we are struggling to find friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it. And
Yep.
he wants us to pursue that. And I think even just as an encouragement, like even when you feel like you can't, like you've reached out, maybe you feel you've been rejected,
Yeah.
um, God does not reject you.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the times because my friends are limited. They're human too. And so there'd be times they wouldn't text me back right away.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be they have their own full life. They're not spending their time waiting for me to text, like, "Oh, where's Marilyn? Is she okay?" Like I had other friends I expected that would have checked up on me a lot more that didn't.
Yeah.
I had to deal with that,
Mm-hmm.
but God was there. God was there. He entered into those questions that I had. He entered into that pain that I had and reminded me you're not alone just because this one friend didn't call you as much as you thought. What about these 2, 3, 4? What about these other people? What about James? What about your kids? They're checking on you every day. So like that lie that you said, sometimes the rejection of one person, and it wasn't even an intentional
Yeah.
rejection. It was just I had this expectation that she
Okay.
would call me more
Okay.
and she didn't.
Okay.
That was it. Did she call me? Yes. Did she text me? Yes. It was not as much as I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
The enemy turned that into the lie. You are alone and no one is calling you. You're a bug on the floor. No one is even thinking about you. Might as well be smashed. Might as well just be ground up in the carpet and
Mhm.
swept up.
Like, my God.
Right? Like, it got dark. It was
Yeah.
bad, and it's like the way that that can spiral so quickly when and then I'm like, I'm telling James this, he's there for me.
Like,
He's like, "Hey, what's going on with you?" And I'm like, "I'm alone." He's literally right there. And I'm just like, "Okay." He's like, "Okay, let's look through your recent text messages."
right.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that speaks to because that's definitely experience that I had where God truly can satisfy our needs, everything that we need.
Mhm.
But for me, I have had seasons where I wanted it this way. I expected you to do it
Yep.
this way, but you're not doing this way. So because of that, I ignore all the other tangible
Oh my
ways that you are
goodness.
satisfying and meeting my needs.
Yep.
I'm not getting affirmation over
In this
here,
one specific
but
thing.
all over here through my children, through my husband, through but that was not what I wanted it. I wanted it over here.
Yep.
So what would you say to that woman that's like she's saying I am looking for God to show up this particular way. Now I'm disappointed
Mhm.
because he didn't show up this way. You experience that and you move from being like, okay, yeah, my friend, she's not showing up so much, but now I'm seeing, okay, my husband is here, my sons are stepping up. How did you move from being like disappointed that that individual person was not showing up to being grateful that God is showing up this other type of way?
For sure through prayer.
Okay.
Um, bringing like how I started this whole episode, like bringing that feeling, that disappointment to the Lord.
Okay.
He's not afraid of my disappointments
Mm.
because I know, well, he knows he can't disappoint me, actually.
Marilyn, say that. Marilyn, say that for the people in the back.
The Lord knows that he can't actually disappoint me because what he wants for me is what's best for me.
Ah, that part.
So I can bring my disappointment to him and he's still a safe place. He still says, "Okay, let me hear all of it. Vent it all to me." That's like he wants all of my heart, even the disappointments, because he can heal those things. He can reveal what's really happening. But if I hold on to it and I think, "Oh, I can't bring this to the Lord. I shouldn't be disappointed in him." Then what are you keeping back from him? And what does that mean? Like, what does that mean about me when I'm keeping it back? Because I have done that.
Mm.
I did not do this perfectly in one go.
Oh,
It
absolutely
was
not. It's
it was a
cycles.
process. And when I was holding on to that, that was when those lies would permeate deeper into me because it and I'm spiraling, like because I wasn't letting go
Okay.
of the disappointment.
Man. So it sounds like our God is pretty secure in who he is.
Mhm.
I love that you mentioned like God knows that he really can't disappoint us. So it's not like I'm coming to my husband, I'm like, you disappointed me. And now his ego is completely shattered.
Right.
And it's hard to even receive what my disappointment is. It's like, no, our father, he is totally secure in who he is. And
Mhm.
so we can confidently go to the throne of grace knowing that we will be helped. We will be helped with mercy and help
Mhm.
in our time of need.
Right.
Like this is and we always have an open invitation and it even just makes me think of why the cost of the cross was so high.
Mhm.
Like Jesus paid for me to be able to go to my father with
Yes.
all things.
Yes.
So for me not to go to him with all
Mhm.
things is shortchanging the inheritance that belongs to us through Christ.
Right. Because if my hands are holding on to disappointment or loneliness or these things I feel like I'm not supposed to feel this way. But if you feel that, it's a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a feeling.
Yep.
You think Jesus didn't feel lonely when he was on this earth? When he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane and he's like, "For a few minutes y'all can't stay awake?" Like
Mm-hmm.
he felt all those things but perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So emotions are not bad. Emotions in and of themselves are not sin. And I feel like in the church we get that so mixed
Yep.
up and
Yep.
we think these negative emotions are sin and I shouldn't feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord's not afraid of how we feel. So we can bring those things to him and he can help us release our hands and the grip that we have on them, because that's what it is. When you hide it, you're holding it,
Mhm.
and then your hands are not free to receive from him.
Mm.
So that inheritance that we
Mhm.
have, how can we get it if we're holding on to we're holding back these other things? How can we receive it? My hands are full.
Yep.
My hands are full of disappointment. My hands are full of loneliness. Ultimately, my hands are full of lies, because that's what those are.
Lies about my identity, lies about who you are.
Lies about who God is. Like that he can't handle my disappointment.
Surely he can handle disappointment.
If he can't handle disappointment, what?
Who are we serving?
Right. Right.
Who are we serving?
Yeah.
Okay, for the woman that is, I want to speak to the woman that is in the church. She's in a leadership position. She's showing up to all the ministry events. She's showing up to all the leadership and women's ministry events. But her life is in shambles right now. What? But she's hiding it
Mm.
because of the facade of who she should be and how she should present herself to the people that she's serving. But for real, behind the scenes, God is like, she's in a lot of pain. She's in a lot of despair. What would you say to her?
I would say find your safe people now and confess that before God reveals it. Because I mean, when I was it, so 2 Decembers ago when this happened, I was a room mom for all 3 of my kids.
Mm.
Why did I do that? I don't know. It was ridiculous. And leading up the younger kids in our kids ministry, and but then I was laid out on the floor. I could not even go to church.
Mm.
I had to watch the live stream on my phone sideways because I'm laying on the floor. So if you're trying to hide it, it will catch up with you eventually, and it will come out eventually, probably in a way you're not happy with. So even though it's scary, it's worth finding somebody to tell and be honest with and just be completely open with. If that's the pastor, if that's someone in your small group, if that's a counselor, like maybe you don't feel safe telling people at church because if you're hiding it,
Mhm.
there's obviously some insecurity there that's like I can't tell people. It's going to let them down.
Mhm.
You can find a counselor, a Christian counselor outside of church to just here's what's really going on
Mhm.
and just receive that safe. I mean, like it says here, right? My refuge is God.
Mhm.
Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him.
Mm.
God is a refuge for us.
That pouring out of the heart.
Mhm. Mhm.
It is necessary to pour out the heart.
Yeah.
And I love that you use the word confess because it is a command that we
Mhm.
confess our sins one to another that we may be healed.
Yes.
A part of our healing is inviting people in. It is saying, hey, y'all, this is what I'm going through. This is what I really feel about myself. This is what I really think about God, even though I can intellectualize it and know, okay, that's not true. But
Mhm.
something about it is ringing the bell for me.
Yep.
And it is necessary that we pour out our heart. David did an excellent job
Mhm.
in that through the book of Psalms. I think that's why that book is such, especially his portions, is such a fundamental book when it
Mhm.
for people going through pain.
Yes.
Because you see David pouring out his heart to the Father,
Mhm.
and you see him happy, sad, angry. Like, God, where are you? You see all
Yep.
of these emotions,
Yeah.
and then you see a resolve that flows
Mhm.
that as he is processing these things out loud with God,
Yes.
that there's a resolve that no, God, but you are good.
Mhm.
You are the one who vindicates
Yeah.
me. You are the trusted one. And oftentimes God meets us like he met David through
Mhm.
people.
Yes. Yes.
Through people.
Over and over. And that's why I think it's also important to read about the life of David because it's like when you're reading through 1st and 2nd Samuel and you see
Mhm.
his journey was not easy.
Mhm.
His own sons turned against it. It was a whole mess. And so, like and he sowed his own sin and
Yep.
it led to death over and over. He learned the hard way. And because both two things can be true.
Yep.
And he went to the Lord with it.
Yep.
He went to the Lord and confessed. He went to the Lord and pleaded. He went to the Lord angry.
Mhm.
And that, like, when you're hiding something, you're not processing it.
Yep.
And so it just festers. It
Mhm.
just gets worse. And it's not, you can't hide everything forever. I mean, the Lord tells us that, like, hidden things will come to the
Yeah,
light.
either way.
So,
And like for the woman that's like you're hiding it very well, meaning you're still showing up in ministries, you're still showing up for your family, you're still showing up for your friends, but your heart is in a different place.
mm,
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. So there's only but so much, like you said, hiding behind that God will allow because his love and his affection for you. His desire for his daughters is wholeness.
mhm,
And that means even when we are the perpetrators of our brokenness, we are when we are working alongside lies and the
mhm.
enemy and our flesh to deceive our own
Yep.
selves. And he's like, he will go to the fullest extent of revealing it,
Yep.
letting the overflow testify of where you're really at with people so that
Yeah.
he can intervene. Because sometimes it even says in Romans, like no, in John, where he talks about people love sin, like they love, that's why they cleave to the
Right.
darkness, because it's a comfort there.
Mhm.
But he doesn't want us to be comfortable, even in us believing a lie that gets us stuck in pain. Like he
Right.
wants us free. And so find your people. If you don't have your people, pray for your people.
Mhm.
And if you have, which I know some of the ladies that watch this have, like church hurt, they have things
Mhm.
that they've experienced. Like Marilyn said, I go to my therapist weekly. Having an objective person that can still speak truth into the
Mhm.
situation, that's aligned with scripture, that's aligned with the
Yes.
spirit of God. Even if it's starting there, but pouring out our heart to God is a refuge in and of itself.
Mhm.
Being able to do that sets us free. And so, thank you.
That's good.
Thank you so much for sharing your testimony. One thing, if there is one thing that you can say to the woman that's watching the screen, that you would say about God's faithfulness in pain, what would you say?
Mhm. Um, God will show up in ways that you don't even expect him to, and he will work things out in ways you had never even noticed.
Mm,
And if you just ask him to open your eyes to it, he will show you how faithful he is.
there you go. There you go. If you don't see, ask him to see.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for your time, Marilyn.
Thank you so much for
We just
having
keep
me.
talking and we just keep going. Um, and thank you guys for watching. I pray this was a blessing to you. And thank you for visiting over here with the Kept crew. And until next time here at Kept, I'll see you next week. Hi everyone, this is Tierra Lebbie. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you have not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you hit that button. And if you are my ladies listening on the podcast and platforms, make sure you go follow. And y'all, in general, if you are enjoying Kept podcast content, make sure you share it with your friends, anyone that God puts on your heart. But until next time, stay kept.